Hello. So this is going to be the first video vlog guide to setting up a Bricklink store and the kind of stuff you need. So I'm going to begin with the equipment that you're going to need, and I'm going to just take you through what I've got. I'm not saying it's the perfect solution, but it certainly kind of has adapted a lot over the last few months in terms of where I started and where it has gone since then. So first things first, you are going to need storage, and you are going to need lots of storage. And what I've found is you're going to need lots of types of storage. So the world over, people are using kind of little drawer units like this. You know, a lot of the American stores are using acro mills and things like that, which are hugely expensive. You know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. These little bad boys come from Spotlight. You can get a similar thing in Bunnings, which for those of you that are not in Australia, one of them is like a hobbies, you know, you can get fabric and things like that in it kind of store. And the other one is like a DIY store. And they come in two types. The acro mills come in kind of a variety where you have smaller drawers at the top and bigger drawers down the bottom. But these crafters units come with, I think these is 64 or 60 drawers, something like that. And then they do have a bigger unit, which is just 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 drawers, which are bigger like that. And what I've got is I've got two banks of those. So anyone that's watched it knows there's this shelving unit is double-sided. And then I've got 4 of those by 2. I've got some more over there, another small drawer over there, and then I've got another 2 in here, which kind of led me to needing a better solution. And you will see other stores have these kind of units that are made by the really useful Box Company, I think they're called. It's called a scrapbook drawer set, and it comes with a tray. Tray is sold separately. It's completely removable, so you can move it around. You don't have to have it in the drawers. So my minifigure drawers, I don't have it in, and they come in either stacks of 9 or 6 or 5, not sure, and they're completely interchangeable, so you can clip them apart, put them together, have different stacks of them. I've got a spare lid at the top there because I wasn't using it down here, because I've snapped all those together. So I have that long tall drawer, which, you know, kind of, I just take these drawers out when I'm picking minifigures. They come completely out. So they're easily put on a table if you're picking, stuff like that, which is quite useful. And then I also have, as everyone probably knows, some more there and some more coming to go over there, which kind of filled up pretty quickly, so that there's space in one of those. The space in one of these is a little bit smaller, it turns out, than the space that you get in a whole one of these. So volume wise, if you know what I mean. So so it's depending on the part type, you could use one of those drawers or you could use one of these. So like if you were picking small parts like those little bracket or whatever they're called, clips, you wouldn't want to put them in one of those drawers because they're pretty difficult to get out of there. So you kind of need to use those kind of drawer units for bigger stuff, and then I use drawers like this for smaller parts, things that you want to keep separated, and bits like that. Then I also have this little unit, which I also got from Bunnings, which is a bit bigger drawers, but not as big as the others, but not as small as the others, that I use for odds and sods, if that's even a phrase anywhere else in the world. But, you know, like weapons, they're all in there. Blasters are all in there. Shields are all in there. Bike bits are all in there. Headgear is all in there. Found that one really useful in terms of keeping accessories separate from everything else personally. And you will have noticed that there's like a labeling system on all of them. So AD is accessories drawer, whereas the D's are just drawers, the BDs are big drawers. It's a very simple system that I'm running. And the T's are trays. Now, down here in T13 and 14, I have odd size stuff, which is all bagged up with the part numbers on it. You know, kind of like a Millennium Falcon, Escape Pod, capsule, stuff like that, canopies, Razor Crest parts, things like that. And again, these drawers are pretty good for that because you can just put bits in there. I've got a bolt bottom, I've got a bit of dinosaurs out of Ninjago. They're pretty good. And in fact, the bottom two of these are all instructions, which I will be moving out of here into storage boxes because they don't move very fast, so it's a bit of a waste of a drawer. But what I also found was you didn't really have enough space for big bulky stuff like wheels. So I also have these drawers, which I think I got from Bunnings as well actually, which I keep wheels and storage containers and tires and tails and stuff like that in them, and they are labelled B because they're boxes. Let me just get that up there. There you go. So I've got 6 of those happening up there. One of them's mainly got Technic bricks in it. One of them's got odd plates and things in it. One of them's got cylinders and some fancy slopes and bits and pieces. And this bottom one is all windows and panes and doors and walls and things like that. Yeah, so I got away with that for quite a while. And then I saw I think he was a German brick picker, bricklinker, who had these IKEA tubs. So these are, can I find one that's got a label on it? I think there's one over there. They're called a 365 plus series. I think they're for kitchens, but they're very good for stacking. And they come in a variety of sizes. I've just been using, shut that door, I've just been using the 2 litres and the 5 litres, but it's good for when you start getting volume of stuff. And as you can see, I mix the colours in there because it's the part that I'm finding. Quite often, the most popular parts I mix together on stuff where I don't have volume of a lot and I don't want it to be too colourful, whereas kind of these don't turn over that much beyond the Star Wars colours. Similarly for those kind of brackets, they don't tend to. But it was a good place to start putting plates because they become quite bulky very quickly. That said, you end up with more than fits in drawers or things. So I've ended up with a series of storage boxes as well. Not because, as I said, you needed a lot of storage. And these are OF, so they're overflow. 1 through to 6, I think I've got of those. And that is the storage. And the beauty of this system is that a part can grow from a drawer, half a section, to a full drawer. It can then progress to either a big drawer or a tray section, or if it gets too much, then it can progress to a 5 litre, like my 1x2s, which I've just got blue, dark, not that I've got any dark blue at the moment, light blue, grey and white in there, because they're the most common that I'm selling. Whew. So what's my point really is kind of, you don't need to have all of this at the beginning. I nearly forgot this. And I'm using these smaller bead boxes. I've got 3 of these for minifigures. I have 2 for just general minifigures. I have 1 for Star Wars specific. Yeah, so they just live on top of my shelves. MF minifigure 1, 2 and 3, which is pretty much how I've been running it so far, and it seems to be working okay, and it doesn't seem to be too different from a lot that goes on elsewhere. But I guess the important thing is having that scalability. Now, nobody's got unlimited space. You know, a lot of the American sellers have basements or garages that they can work through. I don't, and I guess a lot of people wouldn't either. So it's about kind of maximizing the space, you know, kind of getting to the point of capacity. Can I get some more drawers in there? Then this little corner is going to be the next area. You know, I might have to move my amp somewhere else, maybe under there, so that I can access it. Okay, so that's kind of storage. Sorting. plastic cups. Now, in Australia, you can't really get hold of these anymore. Plastic cups like this are now not on sale, so you can only get paper ones because of the single-use plastics rules. I'm not sure if that's the same anywhere else in the world. These bigger tubs I actually got from the supermarket. They're food containers. They were a bit more expensive, but they're quite a good volume. And one of the garden shops sells some that are twice the size of that, and one that's like the size of a dinner plate as well, which is very good when you're sorting a large volume of parts. Now, you are going to need a lot of cups. A lot of cups. Like if you think you're doing a couple of sets that have got 500 unique lot types, you're going to need 500 cups. Now what I've been doing of late is I've been putting things away as I've been sorting. Now you might make 2 or 3 trips to a drawer as a result, but it does limit the amount of space that it takes up with a cup, and that's another important thing. You need a lot of space. So when I'm doing a big set, like when I did, let me have a think, Razor Crest, all of this countertop, all of that, and all of that was all full of cups, and I didn't have enough room. I was stacking them on top of each other. So it just gives you an idea of the amount of cups you're going to need. I think I've got about, I think I've maybe got 500, 600 cups, and then those tubs as well. I've got another stash of cups somewhere that I've not had to break into yet, but yeah, cups are important. This little table thing, which folds down and folds away, came from IKEA. I don't know the name of it, but it will be unpronounceable anyway. It was pretty cheap, but man, it's a lifesaver because you're not having to bend over, and it allows you to stand up and work for a bit, which I prefer. Equally, these sorting trays, which I think are called funnel trays, and you can't actually pick them up in Australia, but I managed to get them on eBay and shipped over. They were not cheap. As a result, well, the shipping wasn't cheap. The trays weren't too bad. I think I got 5 originally, and I sold a couple. And I'm glad I didn't sell the rest because I now actually use them quite frequently. I bought them originally when I was just buying parts and making up used sets that I had and then selling them on eBay because I was sorting a lot of parts and counting parts a lot, and keeping them all in different kind of Ziploc bags because I had lots of sets on the go. But these things are a lifesaver when you're trying to find something in a drawer. So I just pick the drawer, bring it over here, tip it all out into the tray. You can easily sort through, especially like those clips and stuff like that. Much easier to see. You're not having to kind of fiddle through there, you know. I don't particularly have fat fingers, but you know what I mean. It's difficult to pinpoint a 1x1 tile in amongst 200 other 1x1 tiles. So they're pretty good for that. So we've got storage, we've got sorting, we've got cups, packaging. Where to begin? Plastic bags. Now, if you've been on Bricklink and you've kind of bought a lot of stuff, you've probably got a whole load of bags. As evidence, I have a whole load of bags, which I sometimes use, sometimes I don't. Depends on what I need to access. But these are pretty much the bags that I go through a heap. So 6x9s for minifigures and small orders. I know a lot of people do a much smaller bag than this when there's just a few parts. And sometimes they're quite thin and flimsy and I can never get into them and you never find the hole, you know, the little divider in the flaps and stuff like that. But so I use these 6x9s. I have an 8x12, which is quite common. You know, the minute you've got kind of a 2x10 plate, it's that kind of length, anything over that, but you can hold quite a bit in there. Then I've got a 10x15, which is good for larger volumes and probably is the most common bag that I use in terms of orders. I won't color divide a lot of things unless there's a lot of volume. So if there's, you know, 20 light blue grey and 20 dark blue grey parts, I'll probably put all 40 of them in a bag like this and then see how it goes, you know. And then I have these, I've been using these 14x20s for quite a long time. And as the orders were getting quite big, I was having to use 1 or 2 of those. So I bought some of these 15x22s, which aren't necessarily massively different bag, but it does give you a little bit more volume, and given the size of packaging I use, that's probably the biggest bag that will fit straight into a box. For instance, ta-da, see, the perfect fit. Beyond that, I know a lot of people just use sandwich bags out of the supermarket and stuff like that. Economically, I don't think it's necessarily that much of a difference, to be fair. Maybe on the littler ones, because you can't actually get those, but once you start getting up to the bigger bags, I think plastic is plastic in terms of the cost of it. So that's that part of it. And then in terms of shipping boxes, I use a company called Ozpack. You can either get them through Amazon or you can get them direct. If you get them direct, you quickly become a VIP member and you get a bit of a discount, which is good. And I have two types for domestic letter. I have this small one, which is the most common one that I use. And that's pretty good for, I would say, anyone that's watched the videos. Probably 3/4 of the orders I do go out in those things, and I'm churning through those day in, day out. You know, 6 orders today when I'm recording this, four of which, or 2 of which, I don't know, at least half were in this box. Then this bigger one, how big is that one? Let me just get my little piece of paper. The mini envelope is 22.5 wide. So it gives you an idea how big this next size up is. And that is obviously still within the domestic letter. It's still 2 centimeters wide, which is the important factor. But it does mean that a buyer could have a bigger order. And then I have 2 parcel boxes. Well, I've got 3 actually. There's this one, which is the small one, which is, I think it's 18 by 16 by 8 or something like that. And this is without doubt kind of, you know, once you get into that kind of order, this one's the most commonly used. And then the next one up, I think, is probably 20, yeah, it's the same width as that small box. So it's 22.5 wide, and I can't remember, it's maybe 8 deep, but it's a little bit deeper. And then I also have a much bigger box, which I had a lot of stock on for when I was selling sets on eBay, much more, which means that I've got kind of that kind of scope in terms of being able to scale up and down. To be fair, I haven't had a parts order that's required one of these size boxes as of yet, but you know, we live in hope. So that's kind of the boxes. I buy those in volume. So I think I worked out yesterday, kind of, you get 100 of those and they work out about 40 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, something like that, a unit, which is a decent price. Other equipment you are going to need. You're going to need a scales. This one's pretty cheap, just got it from Officeworks. Does the job, kind of gives you a nice weight. I don't know why it lifts, I don't know why that bit lifts up. Never figured that out. Maybe it's to stop things falling off the back. You're going to need a printer, but then kind of maybe you don't need a printer if you're going to lose Brick Freedom and go all digital. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit old school that I like the printer. And a label printer, and this bit is probably the bits that saved me the most time so far, because you know, printing out labels, cutting them out and sticking them on boxes when I was doing eBay sales took forever. So being able to jump on and just print it straight out onto the label and then adhese the label, stick it straight onto the box is a real time saver, especially when you're doing multiple orders. Which probably covers in terms of the equipment. Other things that I've found really useful is a little camera, and this is literally just a webcam bulldog clipped Swiss Family Robinson style onto a selfie stick tripod thing, which I use for brick and eyes. You know, you put your part underneath like that, you go into Brick Store, you click add a part, you use the camera, and it links to Brick and Eyes, and it identifies the part and really does speed you up working through stuff. But yeah, that's probably the only equipment you need other than some kind of digital thing, especially if you're using Brick Freedom. because that's kind of, you know, I don't have any orders to pick, so I can't show you how it works in terms of showing you the inventory and showing you the location of it. But yeah, that's it. Kind of beyond that, you're good to go. Other than having to find yourself a whole lot of time to do it all. And I've not even talked about, you know, the most important thing you're going to need, which is inventory to fill all of these drawers. But I guess if you're getting into this, you've already probably got some, or you've already got a fair good idea about how you're going to get enough stock to make your store stand out from the crowd. So that's it. If you've got any questions, just fire them in the comments below. I don't claim to be an expert. It's literally been trial and error. Figured it out as I've gone. Made some mistakes, especially when I was trying to get the wheels on this shelving unit. Anyone that was tuning in way back then. But yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please give it a like. Subscribe so you can be first in the know when the next episode of this kind of how-to guides comes along. I'm probably going to do the next one on getting set up with Bricklink or Brick Store, how to use Brick Store. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.